Bringing people and communities together on seclosounds.org.
Your listening station.
Hello dear listener, and welcome to the Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. On this show we've got a wide range of topics, including prisoners abroad, Florida, and I know it's still summer, but we've got to think of ahead, and I'm talking about Christmas markets. And finally, so in the travel news, we've got some important news from our friends, flightdelayed.co.uk. Later on in the show, I'll be talking European Christmas markets and what Florida has to offer the visitor. But first, the current news story about two British nationals who've been arrested and imprisoned in Peru has once again put the spotlight on UK nationals who are banged up abroad. Being arrested and imprisoned must be scary enough as it is, without being in another country where you don't speak the language, you don't understand the legal process, and you can only imagine how bad the prison conditions could be. I wanted to find out what support there is available for the UK nationals who are imprisoned abroad, so I spoke to Matthew Pinches from Prisoners Abroad, which is the only UK charity that cares for the welfare of British prisoners held in foreign prisons, to find out what support they offer. The recent story in Peru has brought your organisation into the spotlight, but can you give a brief overview of what Prisoners Abroad do and how long you've been going?
Okay, well, we're a welfare-based organisation, providing information and support to British citizens detained overseas and to their families and friends as well. We were set up in 1978, so we've been going just over 35 years now.
Yes, it's quite a while, but how do you get funding?
Funding comes from a wide range of organisations and individuals. So some of those are corporate entities, major trust funds, and obviously individuals as well.
Okay. I'm assuming that there are still people around who assume that their passport is a get-out-of-jail-free card. What can you do to make sure that people don't realise that this isn't the case?
Yeah, I mean, it's a common misconception that being a British citizen will somehow, lead to you getting special treatment if you do end up getting arrested overseas. As you're already aware, that's a huge misconception, because actually what happens when you're arrested, the British consulate are not going to be able to get you out. They may well come and visit you and check on your welfare, pass information to families, and organise funds from your families to be sent out to you. But as far as actually getting you out of prison, that's not something they're able to do, and they cannot get involved in another country's criminal justice system, sort of telling another country how to run their criminal justice system.
Yeah.
It's not something they can do.
With these prisons overseas, are they as bad as we imagine they are?
It depends how big your imagination is. I would say for most people that worse than they imagine they are. That's what I would imagine.
Worse. Are you able to say which ones are the worst? Or was that?
Yeah, I mean, I think really that depends on it depends on the individual and what their biggest fear is. So, I mean, I think when I started doing this work, I probably would have imagined that the worst place to be in prison would be a country that's very poor, where they don't provide you with food or bedding and that sort of thing. And for some people, being held in poor conditions is their worst nightmare. I think for other individuals, it could be something on the other end of the scale. Would be Japan, for example, where there's no fear about whether you're going to have a bed to sleep on or whether you're going to get fed. There's not really any fear about violence in the prison or anything like that. However, every aspect of your daily life, including just the most mundane decisions, such as when you go to the toilet, who you speak to, when you're allowed to sit or lie on your bed, what type of clothes you can wear, all of those decisions are taken away from you. So it's completely regulated, every aspect of your waking life. And for some people, that would be a worse conditions to be kept in than simply just being kept in poor prison conditions.
So the conditions can vary, but what's the food and water situation like? Does that vary widely as well?
Yeah, very much from country to country. I mean, we have clients detained in some countries where you cannot drink the water that's available, and you will get sick. So that means that you'd be forced to purchase bottled water or run the risk of picking up a wide range of illnesses and diseases from drinking the water, which is certainly not sanitized.
Doesn't sound good. Do you have support in every country? And are your support workers local, or are they from the UK as well?
Well, I suppose to answer that one, I have to explain that we, in order for us to provide our services to people in over 80 different countries, we being based in the UK ourselves and not having offices overseas, we do rely on consular staff to be our, to act on our behalf. So yes, we have support in every country where British consular staff are stationed, and the people who work in those British consulates overseas, sometimes they are from the UK and sometimes they're locally engaged staff.
Right. So through the consulate, you're able to offer the support.
Yeah, we simply wouldn't be able to reach a lot of the people that we reach without them. So just something as mundane as getting a form signed. If you haven't got somebody to physically go into the prison, take the form in, and arrange for that to be signed and sent back to us, we wouldn't know that person was even there.
What's the most common reason for British nationals being arrested?
Again, that really does depend from country to country, and there are some countries where there's a very narrow range of offences that we come across. So Peru would be one of those, because it's on a major drugs trafficking route. The people who end up getting arrested in Peru, for the most part, are people that have gone to Peru to do precisely that. Whereas other countries like United States, where you have people who live there and have been living there most of their lives, you have a wide range of offences, so very similar to the sort of range of offences you'll see in UK prisons. So yeah, it sort of depends from place to place.
Do you think sometimes that if the traveller had better information on local laws, that their problem may have been prevented?
Certainly, yeah. I mean, the Foreign Office operate something they call the Know Before You Go campaign, which they're very keen for people to read up on. And there's no doubt that if people did do, some basic research before they went abroad, some of these situations could be avoided. I mean, a good example of that would be United Arab Emirates, where they have very, very strict laws on prescription medication and drugs. So, for example, I doubt many people would be aware that that even though you're not in possession of drugs, if you actually have drugs or prohibited substances in your bloodstream, that will be counted as possession of drugs, which leads to a minimum sentence of 4 years. So I think that, another example would be people who take their prescription medication. Codeine, for example, is illegal in the UAE. So if you try to take codeine medication into the country without a proper prescription, you could find yourself in trouble. And people who might have a car accident, for example, they will do a blood test. Again, if you come up with codeine-based sort of medication in your bloodstream, then you're going to fall on the wrong side of the law there. So there's certainly things that people can do to make themselves aware of the problems they're about to face. Unfortunately, the sort of people who check up on the Know Before You Go campaign for the individual country they're visiting before they go there are the sort of people who don't get in trouble in the first place. So it's about how to reach those who are at risk.
So perhaps better documentation from travel companies, do you think?
Yeah, that would certainly help, yeah.
Does the crime affect the amount of support that you give someone?
No, not at all. I mean, we are a totally non-judgmental organisation, which means that we provide our services according to the needs of the individual. So it doesn't depend on what crime you have been accused of committed or what you've been convicted of, nor does it depend on whether you are currently on remand or you are already convicted. We provide the services that according to the needs of that person. So if you are in prison in a developed country where prison conditions are fairly good, the sort of services that we provide may well be focusing on trying to reduce the isolation that people feel when they are sort of detained, often thousands of miles away from home with no friends, no family around them, and they don't maybe speak the local language. So, that we could be focusing on that. Other countries where prison conditions are very poor, it may mean that we are providing financial grants to ensure that people can purchase extra food, medical grants to ensure that they get adequate, medical treatment when they're ill, water purifiers if the water the water quality is very poor. So yeah, it really does again depend on from country to country.
You mentioned isolations. That must mean when they're released and then come back home, it must be difficult for them to readjust. Do you help them then as well?
Yes, we do. We have a resettlement service designed to help people who find themselves deported. I mean, often the clients that we're helping have spent most of their lives living outside of the UK. So being deported to the UK, they find themselves in a very difficult situation because they've got no experience of living here. They may well have no family or friends. And in most cases, when people are deported, they are pretty much, they arrive at the airport in the clothes that they've got on their back, probably no other possessions with them, maybe no money in their pocket, which would mean that even to leave the airport, they would be forced into committing an offence unless Prisoners Abroad was there to help them. So, yes, we do provide resettlement services to people, and that can involve just simply making sure that there are funds available for them to reach their destination, their family home, or wherever it is they're going on to from the airport. In many cases, people don't have anywhere to go, and they don't have friends or family to support them. And in that case, people will come to the Prisoners Abroad office, and we will organise accommodation for them, making sure they've got a roof over their head, and start the process of rebuilding their lives by getting them onto, advising them on applications for benefits, access to doctors, information on housing, that sort of thing. So it's quite a wide range of support.
There's quite a few things that you do there which people probably wouldn't think about. We've mentioned about the help you do to the prisoners. What about their families? Can you help them too?
Well, we certainly do our best. I mean, we have just over 1,100 clients in prison overseas, and over 1,300 family clients as well. So we try and provide emotional support to family members because we're often their sort of first port of call once they've found out the very disturbing news that one of their family members has been detained overseas. We provide them with information about the prison systems. We provide information about visiting. We run sort of local support groups all around the UK, so that family members can meet other people in similar situations, because they often find that they don't have other people that they can really talk to about these things. We sort of have a private forum through our website so that family members can communicate with each other on an anonymous basis. And we provide travel grants as well, so that family members can visit their loved ones overseas when otherwise they wouldn't be able to do that. So, yeah.
So you really do have a great service.
We like to hope so. Yeah, we like to think so.
What's your advice for anyone who's arrested when overseas? Should they make sure they've got some contact numbers close to hand just in case the
Yeah, I mean,
happens?
it's never a bad idea to have the contact number of your local British embassy if you know that you're going to a specific place. But I think the most important piece of advice for anyone who is arrested when overseas is to know that it is their right to have the local British embassy or consulate informed of their arrest. And that is something that I would certainly advise people who are arrested overseas to do. I mean, we quite often get phone calls from family members who have discovered that their loved one is in prison overseas maybe through a friend or something like that who was with them at the time, but they're unable to actually get any information about where they are and how they are, because the British consulate have not visited that person. So they will only visit if they're asked to. And without the detainee's permission, they cannot pass information to third parties, not even close family members such as mothers and fathers or brothers and sisters, which is an incredibly frustrating thing if your family member is detained overseas and you know that, not to be able to find out just basic information like where they are and how they're doing. It really puts the family in a terrible situation.
That does sound difficult. How can the listeners find out more about your service and how they could donate?
Well, anyone wanting to find out more about Prisoners Abroad, I would suggest that they visit our website, which is prisonersabroad.org.uk. There's a wide range of information and statistics, and indeed, if anyone was interested in making a donation, it's all pretty self-explanatory.
Okay, great. Thank you, Matthew. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, John.
Once again, the website is www.prisonersabroad.org.uk. And as always, every website address mentioned in today's show will be placed on my Facebook page, facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show.
The Drive Time Show with Nigel G every Monday to Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. online at seclosounds.org. The best mix of music and fun to wind down your day. Listen out for a slice of cheese, the rotten tomato, and remember the bees. Intrigued? Don't miss the Drive Time Show with Nigel G every Monday to Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. on seclosounds.org.
You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. You can contact the show via facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Still to come is the travel news and European Christmas markets. But first, the Sunshine State, Florida. What comes to your mind when you think about Florida? Is it just theme parks? Is it the beaches? Florida has an awful lot to offer the UK visitor, and I wanted to find out more, so I spoke to Will Seccombe, the CEO of Visit Florida, via Skype to find out what his state has to offer the UK visitor. I'm pretty sure everybody knows where Florida is on a map, but how big is it, and is it true that it's full of pensioners?
No, actually, we know where Florida is, know where the Sunshine State is, and when you look at the the big global world of choices that you have, it's actually a pretty small little corner, but it's a little piece of paradise. Actually, about the same size as the landmass of England and Wales. So it's a pretty good sized state. It's a super state if you think about in comparison to many states with over 19 million Floridians. And no, it is not made up of all pensioners. In fact, incredibly robust and probably one of the most diverse populations in the United States.
Okay, you said there's 19 million?
19 million Floridians, yes.
Okay, it's a fair few.
And
over,
over a million of them, about 1,090,000 of those 19 million Floridians are employed in the Florida hospitality industry. So you have an incredible population base that is really just there and exceptionally trained and skilled at providing exceptional experiences for travelers from around the world.
You mentioned it's the Sunshine State. What is the climate like?
Well, it is the Sunshine State for a reason. There's no question about that. It's one of the most beautiful climates around, obviously subtropical climate, and typically very, very warm on a year-round basis. Now, you certainly have some get a little bit cooler in the winter, but generally speaking, you're going to be you're going to have a very warm climate on a year-round basis. And as you get on around the beaches, and even in the dog days of summer, you have the beautiful sea breeze, and that cools everything off and makes it very, very, very comfortable. Is there a best time of year to visit? Amazingly, when you look at the state of Florida, we've got over 91 million visitors a year come to the state. There's about more people visiting the state of Florida than live in 12 U.S. states. So there's people coming and visiting every single day of the year from 154 different countries every year. The first quarter is typically the most visited from January to March. And then we just came off of a very, very successful second quarter that's about 24 million visitors. So really on a year-round basis, there'll be a great opportunities for visitors around the state.
What about hurricanes? We see on the news here that you get 1 or 2 hurricanes a year. Is that much of a problem?
Well, there's no question that Florida does live in the in the hurricane alley, I guess you would say, and that the hurricane season is between June and September, or June and the end of November every year. The state of Florida has been very fortunate recently, but over the years there certainly have had the hurricanes have come through and impact the Sunshine State. I think one of the things that should give all visitors from around the country, and certainly all around the UK, a lot of comfort planning a vacation, even within that window, is that we've got probably the most accredited, acclaimed emergency response system in the world, and work very, very closely with our hospitality industry around the state to make sure that any visitor to the state, should a tropical storm, hurricane come through, is going to be very communicated to and very forthright. We work very, very closely with them to make sure that nobody is surprised.
That's reassuring to hear. When flying over from the UK, how long does it take to get there?
I had to ask that question. It's a pretty easy flight when you look at all the international flights from the UK into the state of Florida. I mean, you're talking about an 8-9 hour flight, but incredible amount of options that are available from the UK, coming from Gatwick, Manchester, Prestwick, and we got British Airways, Virgin Atlantic, American Airlines. I know Delta's flying. There's a tremendous amount of access into the state of Florida from the UK, and then an awful lot of charter service coming in from regional airports like Newcastle, Cardiff, Birmingham. So really, all around the state, there's an amazing connection between the UK and our British visitors and the state of Florida. It's a long-standing relationship. The UK has been one of the biggest and most important feeder markets for the state of Florida for years and years and years. And as a result, we have great relationships and incredible service to get into and out of the Sunshine State from the UK.
Do you know how many British people visit each year?
Last year we had over 1.6 million visitors. So that's really, again, puts the solidifies a really powerful relationship between the UK and Florida vacations. And it's been that way for many, many years, and the loyalty is very much appreciated, and certainly think that hopefully the state of Florida is delivering on a promise of providing exceptional vacation experiences for our British friends year in and year out, and hope to continue to do so, because it's obviously very important for the state of Florida, and hopefully, again, those are 1.6 million incredible memories that are being taken back to the UK.
Yep, I've got a couple of friends actually popping over in October. I think it's their 5th year in a row, so they're quite keen.
It is, again, it's a lot of traditions and a lot of amazing Florida to explore. So I guess my encouragement would be for those 1.6 million visitors to talk to when they go back, to share what was the favorite thing that they had with their friends, favorite experiences that they've shared, and maybe learn a few new ones. This is actually the state of Florida's 500th anniversary or commemoration from when Juan Ponce de Leon first landed on the shores of the United States as the first European visitor, and he chose Florida. And visitors have been ever since. But in 500 years, there's a tremendous amount of diversity, again, of opportunities to really explore some really cool parts of this really amazing state.
500 years, that's a lot older than I expected, actually.
Well, in some ways, as you walk around in UK and London, and you see an awful lot of things that have been around a whole lot longer than that. But it is appropriate to note that the first European visitors to the United States did come through Florida, and fortunately, we think that we're well positioned to be the number one European destination in the United States.
Okay. When visitors from the UK come over, they need a ESTA. What is an ESTA or ESTA?
The ESTA program is relatively new, but what it is allows for UK visitors is to participate as part of the global Customs Border Patrol system, and it's really a visa waiver program, so that UK visitors don't need visas to enter the United States. And it's a electronic system for travel authorization. Basically, you just have to go to online and register for that, and it's $15 for 2 years, and allows you to come in and out of the United States freely.
So it just simplifies things, does it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. I'm assuming that most people who visit from the UK are on a fly drive holiday. What paperwork do they need to bring with them?
Really, I think again, all of UK visitor does need to bring with them is a valid driver's license. We typically recommend bringing the photo card and the paper card just as part of some of the rental agreements. But that is definitely a very, very common practice, is coming here and renting the cars. You might take you a few minutes to get used to driving on the other side of the road. But it does provide a tremendous amount of freedom. Again, it's a big state, and from Pensacola to Key West is a long drive, but you're never more than an hour or so from the ocean. And exploring a lot of the non-traditional parts of Florida, I think, provide some of the most exceptional experiences and some really cool memories.
Over here in the UK, we've got what's called a blue badge scheme for disabled drivers, so they can get parking spaces. Do you have something similar for visitors in Florida?
Yes, there is. Visitors that can apply for a temporary disabled parking permit. Very similar scheme. The temporary permit is issued for up to 6 months, and the fee is $15.
Oh, that's pretty reasonable, isn't it?
Yes.
$15. So, with all your 500 years of history, I'm assuming that it's not all theme parks and beaches in Florida.
Well, you do have 825 miles of the most beautiful beaches in the world. No question, it's the theme park capital of the world. But when you look at all that Florida has to offer, it's a fishing capital of the world. The sport fishing and inland fishing is really something you can't find anywhere in the world. The amount of species that you can catch here. We're the home of American auto sports, from the Daytona and the 24 Hours of Daytona to Sebring and NASCAR. There's an amazing history of motorsports in the state of Florida. The home of American golf. The World Golf Hall of Fame is in the state of Florida. We have a big section of the PGA swing. The Florida swing comes through the Sunshine State with several major tournaments, including the Players Championship on an annual basis. Sporting events from professional to amateurs. There's probably more competition in the state of Florida than pretty much any place you can find, and that's just kind of the beginning of a long list of the cruise industry is, by and large, in the United States is based in Florida, and more than half of the embarkations getting on a cruise ship start in the state of Florida. So you can tack onto that all the amazing things that come with that make up our community so special, with again the incredibly rich diversity and history of the state, providing amazing sights and sounds and incredible diversity of tastes from around the world, all kind of combine into that unique Florida flair. So a lot of the really big experiences that people remember and think about beaches, and they think about the amazing theme parks who continue to invest in their product with the expansion of Harry Potter and the Disney expansion of Fantasyland, which was just massive over the course of the last year, and the addition of Empire of the Penguins at SeaWorld. So there's continues to be something new and exciting at those places that many visitors are familiar with, but off the beaten path, there's again amazing diversity of history and arts and culture and shopping and dining that can really enhance and expand a great Florida vacation.
That's quite a lot then, really.
Yeah, I don't think there's any place in the world that can boast the unique and the expanse of the tourism product that is found in the Sunshine State.
If somebody was to go there for a city break, what would there be available for them to do?
Again, in a state that is as big and diverse as the Sunshine State, there's an amazing array of choices on that end as well. I mean, if you want to get in the city, and there's probably no more international city in the United States than Miami, and all of South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, and that provides an exceptionally vibrant, again, very diverse, exciting experience, combining the urban environment with the incredible beaches and climate of South Florida. But if you go up, you can go up through North Florida and a place like Tallahassee, laid-back southern town, or Tampa, which I think has a really unique flair from Tampa through Sarasota on the central west coast of the Sunshine State to even bigger, different experiences in, say, Jacksonville or Pensacola. And from top to bottom, they're all very, very different, very, very unique. But again, are going to all offer incredible hospitality experience, because the people in the Sunshine State very much appreciate your business and want to make sure that you leave from your vacation with great memories that you're going to want to share with all your friends and family.
Listen to the Sticks Radio Show with me, Terry Sullivan, here on Secclo Sounds every Monday from 10 a.m. with guests from the world of entertainment and sport across hearts, beds and bucks. The Sticks Radio Show, online at secclosounds.org.
Still to come, travel news and European Christmas markets. But let's get back to the Florida chat, and we're going to start off with how easy it is to get around the state. You've mentioned a few times it's actually quite a big state. How easy is it to get around?
From flying into the state, again, as we talked earlier about getting the fly drive vacations, you're never more than an hour or two from the beaches, and most likely they're going to be flying into the Orlando area or one of the South Florida airports. So flying into Central Florida or South Florida, or maybe even connecting and coming down through Georgia from a Delta flight as an example. But getting around the state is a very, very good system of interstate highways. And I would encourage people to also get off the beaten path. I think some of the most fun memories and the unique discoveries are found off of our interstate highways and into the really cool communities around the state.
When somebody's on a vacation or holiday with you, what's the must-dos they should do?
Well, I don't know that there's enough time on this show to walk through a laundry list. And in fact, I think probably the reason that Florida's been the number one long haul destination for Brits for many, many years is because there's just so much to see and do. You can come back to the Sunshine State. 5 years as your friends were talking about, 5 years in a row, and never have enough time to explore the entire state. But that said, there's some places, again, the beaches are remarkable. And I encourage people to take a look at a new area of beaches that they maybe haven't been. Northwest Florida especially, I think, probably are some of the most beautiful beaches that I've ever seen. Down to the Everglades. And the Everglades, many people don't know, really the headwaters of the Everglades start in Orlando and work their way all the way down into the Everglades National Park, and that's an experience that I think is something that you can't find anywhere else in the world. Certainly, the Florida Keys, continuing on down, is one of the most beautiful drives, and again, just an incredible experience that nobody can find anywhere else. Obviously, you can't come to Florida. You can't come to Florida many times without experiencing the amazement and wonder what that is, Orlando. And again, everything from SeaWorld and Universal Studios and Walt Disney Resorts and all of the incredible experiences that they're providing and continue to build. As we were talking earlier, the island, the Empire of the Penguin at SeaWorld just launched this summer. An amazing experience, up close and personal with the penguins. The Transformers experience just opened at Universal, and they're working on the second phase of an incredible Wizarding World Harry Potter experience. And Disney, again, with their biggest Fantasyland expansion in history, is again, providing new and exciting programs. Another one that I would definitely encourage visitors, it's brand new, is at Kennedy Space Center and the new Space Shuttle Atlantis experience. Again, another really, really tried and very exciting experience.
So there's an awful lot. So what would you recommend to be the minimum length of stay per visit?
I'd have to say that, by and large, to tap into all that there is, you're not going to get it all done in any one vacation. So I would encourage, I think a couple weeks is a great opportunity to get a very good experience and enjoy the most. But just know that you'll never be able to see and do all there is to do in the Sunshine State in 2 weeks, let alone 3 or 4. So maybe just come back frequently, I guess.
Okay, so the real must do is to plan to come back.
That would be the number one.
Yeah. The accommodation, is it all big hotels, or is there smaller bed and breakfasts you can book it and stay in?
Well, I think again, when you have the number of visitors that the state of Florida has, you end up with probably, again, the biggest variety of accommodations, from world-class, high-end resorts down to one-of-a-kind bed and breakfasts like the Rod and Gun Club in the heart of the Everglades. So you have a incredibly wide diversity of accommodations. Again, resorts, condominiums, if you're going to be staying longer, and home rentals are also very, very attractive and very, very popular. So it runs the gamut from renting a beautiful 5-bedroom home to a luxury resort property to a quaint B&B that I guess all will satisfy your taste based on kind of what you're looking for at the time.
Okay. With the travelling around Florida and coming over from the UK, is it okay to do it yourself, or are you better off going through travel agents and tour operators?
No, our tour operators and travel agents around the UK have been very, very important partners for many, many years, and will remain important partners for many, many years to come. And I think that, again, they provide a great value and a great resource to travelers. So I certainly encourage, if you haven't been to the state of Florida, if you haven't been here recently, there's a great opportunity to expand your information and have a lot of comfort and confidence by working through the tour operators and travel agents, because they can provide an amazing service. I think many people now, and more and more, are booking direct, and certainly when you have a high comfort level with what you're doing and where you're going, that's obviously an option. And at visitflorida.com/UK, we can provide you with a tremendous amount of ideas and insight to help you provide some inspiration on what maybe should be the next stop on your Florida vacation. So I can tell you that I think, again, that tour operators and travel agents in the UK provide a tremendous amount of value, and certainly encourage you to shop and look with them. But you also there are many options to work directly as well.
Okay. Getting all slushy romantic, is it easy to get married in Florida as a visitor?
I didn't get married in Florida, but I did get married, so had to do a little bit of homework on this one for you, John. But yeah, actually, weddings and destination weddings is a very big trend in the state of Florida, and we're seeing a lot of weddings happening around the state every single day. And it's really not that hard. I mean, you have your passports, birth certificates, all your paperwork in order like you would normally have, and there are services, and I've actually met several people that make their living coordinating and managing and helping assist and facilitate with beach weddings or weddings at in front of the castle at Disney, and all around the state.
Are there any really unusual ones available?
I would have to imagine there are, but I don't have a good example for you. But maybe get married in the Everglades. You never.
Yeah. That'd be quite sweet. Are there any big events planned for the rest of 2013 and in 2014?
Well, as I mentioned, the state of Florida is kind of in the middle of a big statewide commemoration of 500 years of history, and there's events celebrated around the state. all year long. And again, you can find those at visitflorida.com. But the amazing thing about the state of Florida, again, is there's an event happening every single day, every single weekend, from a major sporting event to an art festival to concerts. There are more events happening in the Sunshine State than you're going to find anywhere, and I wouldn't again have enough time to list them. But this year with the 500 years, it's been a really exciting time and a great way to highlight a lot of the cultures and communities around the Sunshine State.
So it's visitflorida.com, is it, to find out more?
Yes, sir. Visitflorida.com is the best resource to plan and to get specific information regarding, the ESTA program or the parking permit information or information on planning your weddings. You can go to visitflorida.com/UK and provide kind of a little bit more of the technical information that you may need to plan your Florida vacation.
One last question, not a really serious one, but is it best to avoid spring break?
I think that's a good question. Is that again, with 1.6 million Brits coming to visit the Sunshine State, everyone has a different goal in mind of what their vacation is going to feel like and look like. If it's attractions and spending time in the attractions, or if it's spending the time on the beach, there's a great time. I think you can find exactly what you're looking for in the state of Florida any time of the year. Certainly, if you're looking to avoid a bunch of kids, you might go someplace else during the spring. But I don't think that the spring break time frame is actually something to be avoided. In fact, I think it's an amazing time of the year to be in the Sunshine State, and there's always a way to plan your vacation in a way that you can experience and get what it is you're looking for.
Okay, so it's not that bad then.
Absolutely.
This finally, can you just repeat the website one more time, please?
Sure. It's www.visitflorida.com. And if you're interested in specific information just on direct travel from the UK, you'd be www.visitflorida.com/UK.
Okay, thanks, Will. Thanks for your time.
Join DJ Escudero for My Latinesque Show on Seclo Sounds every Saturday from 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. For everything cool and hot, Latin and local, it's Seclo Sounds with DJ Escudero. Para todo cool y caliente, latino y local, escucha a DJ Escudero en Seclo Sounds.
You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. You can contact the show via Twitter at holiday_hut. Just about every tour operator there is offers some sort of package to Florida. The list is quite long. There's Virgin Holidays, Air Tours, Carrier, Elegant Resorts, Funway Holidays, Haynes and Jarvis, Jet Save, Key to America, Kuoni, North America Travel Service, Premier Holidays, Thomas Cook, and Thompson. So with all this choice, you're probably better off speaking to your local travel agent so they can help to narrow down the options for you. Christmas markets are held throughout Europe, and for some they are an escape from the commercialisation that seems to feature so heavily here in the UK. It's a chance to get away from all the paraphernalia that has been put up in shopping malls and around town centres probably since August. At least in Germany, for example, they'll wait until the end of November before getting in the festive spirit. A Christmas market is a street market associated with the celebration of Christmas during the 4 weeks of Advent. These markets originated in Germany, Austria, South Tyrol and eastern France, but are now held in many other European countries. The history of Christmas markets goes back to the late Middle Ages in the German-speaking part of Europe, with some markets recorded as being held in 1310. There was an even earlier market held in Vienna starting around 1294, but this is believed to have evolved from a December market into a Christmas market. Now, Christmas markets, especially those held in Germany, cause me a massive problem. The problem is words that I can't pronounce. To help me with this, I asked Katrina from rosettastone.co.uk, who was a guest a few shows ago, to help me, and she very kindly wrote out the words phonetically for me. But, dear listener, I'm bottling it, and I can't risk trying to pronounce the words on air. I was once actually asked onto a show to talk about Christmas markets, but I skillfully changed the subject to Christmas in New York. But now I have my own show I can get an expert on.
My name's Paul McTiernan. I'm the operations director of Leisure Holidays. Leisure Holidays being the market leader in European coach touring.
We're going to be talking about Christmas markets this morning. Can you please describe what a typical Christmas market is?
Christmas markets have a unique festive atmosphere. Have lots of stalls selling traditional gifts, most of them handmade, with the hustle and bustle and the scent of local food and drinks. They're usually held in the market squares with the backdrop of the town or city's unique architectural style behind them, often the town hall or the cathedral.
Which countries would qualify to having a Christmas market?
Oh, there are many of them now, from Austria to Germany, France, Belgium, Luxembourg, Italy, Czech Republic, and there are one or two cities now also here in the UK.
Out of all of them, which one has the most markets to choose from?
I would say Germany probably has the most. I think they have about 70 to 80 Christmas markets across the towns and cities. The beauty of the German markets is that all of them are slightly different in the way that they're presented or in their appeal.
Okay. Which German city has the most popular market out of all that lot?
Dortmund and Cologne are probably the largest. Cologne also has the interest of a floating market on the Rhine, and it also plays host to the largest Christmas tree in the Rhineland.
Being German, some people might have trouble pronouncing the names. Do you have any tips for people?
It does depend on the market and which one you're struggling with. Mm-hmm. If in doubt, you can always check on the internet to look at the pronunciation. But if you go on one of our tours, then your onboard crew will be able to help you with the pronunciation and local knowledge and tips of where to go and where not to go.
That's handy. People who listen to my show know I always manage to mess up one or two words, mainly English ones, unfortunately. In terms of food and drink, what are the must-buys at a German market?
Well, I think that probably the best known is the mulled wine, which is also locally known as Glühwein. Stollen, which is a rich German fruit and nut loaf, gingerbread, hot roasted nuts, waffles, and of course, if you are in Germany, bratwurst. But unique festive gifts such as hand-painted baubles, candles, jewellery, knitwear, and much more are nice keepsakes to bring back from those places.
We've already mentioned about pronouncing the names of the markets. I've recently been in Italy and I don't speak any Italian, so I struggled a little bit. But at a Christmas market, would somebody who just speaks English like me have any problems?
I would say not. I mean, the markets have thousands of visitors, a lot of them coming from the UK, and the stall holders, most of them speak enough English, especially when you're trying to buy something.
Yeah. Oh, that's handy. I'm quite well versed in pointing. Yeah. If you have children, which markets would they enjoy the most?
I think Nuremberg would be perfect as a host as a host of the children's Christmas market. It has an old-fashioned carousel, Ferris wheel, steam train, a lot of things that younger children that appeals to younger children. It also has a nativity scene trail which runs between the two markets.
And on the other end of the scale, if it's a romantic trip, which is the best location if you want a little bit of romance?
I would say we have a tour that goes to Brussels and Bruges. Mm-hmm. That would be perfect. In Brussels, a very cosmopolitan city, brought to life with local musicians, painters, jugglers, whereas Bruges, a beautiful medieval town with cobbled streets and a network of canals. It's perfect for those romantics amongst us who like to wander around. Plus, with a stay in a five-star hotel, mm-hmm. What more could you really want?
Yeah, that's true. What about you? Do you have a particular favourite?
I have a couple, but I guess my real favourite will have to be the one that we go to on our Falkenberg tour. Mm-hmm. The markets there are unique. They're set in the Gemeente caves that were excavated in the town in the Roman times. The illuminations and decorations in the grottos create a wonderful atmosphere. They really are something different.
And we mentioned you work for Leisure and you offer tours to Christmas markets. Which is the most popular one that Leisure do?
Good question. I would say probably Cologne. It offers 7 Christmas markets, nativity scene displays, huge ice rink. It offers great value, starting from only £169 for a 3-day break. If you want to go there for a little bit longer, a 4-day break starts from £209. And the beauty of Cologne is it's such a large city, but there's a fantastic Altstadt, Old Town, to go out as well once you've done the markets.
With your multi-centre coach tours, how much space is available for travellers to bring stuff back? Because being in the EU, they don't have to worry about allowances, do they?
No, they don't, except it does have to be for personal use. And, of course, on any type of transportation, you're limited as to how much you can bring back, mainly because of the space available. But it's never been an issue, especially in our silver service vehicles, providing not wanting to bring the kitchen sink back.
Okay. Some might assume that these coach tours are for pensioners. Is that the case?
I would say not. I mean, we appeal to, especially Christmas markets, a real broad range of customers, from couples, mothers, daughters, groups of friends. It's a great time of the year to go away for a short break, but it's also a good time for people to get together, and there's nothing better than going in a small group.
No. Does sound a lot of fun. But how do listeners find out more about your trips?
Most of our European Christmas market tours run from November to December. We start making bookings 12 months to 18 months in advance. And most of our tours offer an upgrade to our luxury silver service coach, which includes extra legroom, reclining seats, personal entertainment, a lovely rear lounge, plus much more. And 9 out of 10 of our guests choose silver service, so it's always best to book early to make sure you're not disappointed. What you could do is look on our website, which is www.ledger.co.uk, and we've got a wide selection of tours for you to go out, or just ring us and request a brochure.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Thanks for your time. Hopefully we've encouraged a few listeners to go away. They may think it's the wrong time of year to talk about this sort of thing, but as you mentioned, they can book up early, so thank you.
It's actually interesting because we've already got a lot of people booked already, but as soon as we get past the sort of end of August when the schools are back, we get a lot of people booking Christmas market tours and Christmas tours.
Once again, Ledger's website is www.ledger.co.uk. And if you've got any tips on how to pronounce foreign words, please do let me know via facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show or via Twitter @holiday_hut, because I seriously do need some help on this matter. And now, travel news. You may remember from my last show about some delayed passengers flying from Riyadh to the UK, flying with British Airways. Well, looks like British Airways under EU 261 are going to have to pay compensation because they're an EU-based airline. But I'd like to start this news bulletin off with a story based on these regulations. I've had some news from our old friend of the show, Raymond Veldkamp from flight-delay.co.uk. His company has helped a group of students get compensation for a delayed flight. The Dutch group of students' outbound flight to Hong Kong experienced a 5-hour delay. This wasn't bad enough, it caused them to miss their connecting flight for the final destination, which was Vietnam. One student decided to file a damage claim, and much to her surprise, she was able to give her fellow students some very good news 3 months later. Airline Cathay Pacific Airways had transferred €14,400 into her bank account. The 24 students between the ages of 20 and 25, as I said, were travelling for Vietnam for a university study project. The Cathay Pacific Airways staff made sure that the students were looked after while they were waiting for their flight. They gave each student a €15 voucher for refreshments. But it wasn't Cathay being generous, this is the minimum expected under the European regulation, which states that airlines must provide care to passengers delayed in excess of 2 hours. Some of the students were also aware of the fact that delayed passengers can claim for financial compensation, but they didn't really expect to receive thousands of euros in cash from the airline. After turning to flight-delay.co.uk for help, well, to be perfectly honest, the Dutch version of the webpage, the students received an amount of €600 per person, which is around about £520, which totalled to a whopping €14,400. Students had another bonus because their claim was run rather quickly, so that was pretty good because sometimes this can drag out for a bit. That's it for this show. Thank you for listening, dear listener. All websites and other details will be listed on facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. And hopefully you can join me next time when I will be talking about more travel destinations, news, hints and tips.
Around the world, the trip begins with
MK Pulse proudly sponsors Secklow Sounds. MK Pulse is Milton Keynes' local magazine, bringing helpful information on food, health, fashion, money, travel, culture, and much more to 66,000 readers every month. Plus news, views, and what's on from around the city. If it's happening in Milton Keynes, it's in MK Pulse, and it's available online at www.mkpulse.co.uk. MK Pulse and Secklow Sounds, the heart and soul of the city.